Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to the Fantasy Football Counselor.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the Fantasy Football Counselor. Got an exciting episode here today. Well, you're not going to be too excited because there's a lot of names here that you're going to be like, oh my God, Joe, you're telling me not to draft that guy? Yes, I am. We're talking running backs that you got to avoid, running backs that you do not draft for Fantasy Football 2020. Stay away from these guys. Draft somebody else. This is not the episode that you're not going to be happy. You're not going to feel warm and fuzzy. You're not going to say, well, Joe, I really like that guy and I want to draft. No, you're not going to draft him because I'm going to tell you why you're not going to draft him. We're going to dive into 10 running backs. I got a list of 10 running backs here that you must not draft, and they're big names, okay? Before I get into that show, guys, make sure you guys get the 16-round draft solution, because in there, you're going to know which running backs you actually should be drafting. Guys in minimal committees, guys that are healthy, a little more durable, every player that you need to optimize, in each round to know which player to draft is in 16-round draft solution, okay? You're going to know who to draft in each round. Get it at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. There's also a link below. Guys, this is the game changer. I just did a video on my Insta. If you're not following my Insta, there's a link to my website below with all my social links. Follow at Fantasy Football Counselor on Insta. Listen, draft kits are dead. Tell somebody in the news. Tell somebody, call somebody, text somebody. I don't care what you got to do. Draft kits are dead. Anyone selling you a draft kit is an idiot. It's outdated information. It's like buying a flip phone, okay? Mind you, flip phones could come back. That's a bad example. It's like running to a payphone to make a call. It's like texting somebody on a payphone. Point I'm trying to make is it's old, right? Draft kits are dead. Tell somebody, all right? Let everybody know if people aren't aware of this yet. The future of analysis is here. Get 16-round draft solution. There is a link below. Now, also, there's a link to Fan Network. We're creating a network with all the top influencers at FTFN on Twitch or Fan Network on Instagram. Go follow, guys. We're launching this thing in August. It's going to be massive. Look out for that, okay? And also, your fantasy questions below. Leave them below. I'll get to as many as I possibly can. I try to keep it real with you guys, really keeping it number one in the industry for fantasy football, guys. Check out the social media. Check it out. I'm crushing this industry, yet I'm still remaining humble with you guys. That's the point I'm trying to make. The bigger I get, I'm not going to forget about everybody because you guys are rising with me. So leave your questions below. I'll keep it real. I'll actually reply to you unlike other people, okay? I think it's just so ignorant that some people just don't reply to people. I'm like, dude, you guys are the reason why we're here. We appreciate you. So I'm going to try to reply. Now, if I miss your message, guys, just because I'm inundated, but I will try to get back to as many people as I can and smash that thumbs up. All right. Who are we avoiding at the running back position for Fantasy Football 2020? Number one, no particular order. I'm just doing it just to keep order for here as I'm talking to you guys. This guy you got to stay away from. Now, he isn't the guy I hate as much for fantasy as some of the other guys I'm going to list here, but I'm going to stay away from him, and I'll tell you why. The guy I'm talking about first is Joe Mixon. I'm going to stay away from him. I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Now, last year he finished 11th. In 2018, he finished number 9. In 2017, number 32 amongst running backs. Okay, so he has, he's going into his 4th season. He's had 3 years. He's been pretty decent. He's been okay. Like, he hasn't been like, wow, I'm excited. And when I look at a running back, especially if I'm investing in like the second round, I want a guy that's got a high ceiling. Okay, Joe Mixon has peaked, and I want to emphasize this to you guys. Peaked at 243 PPR fantasy points. Guys, that is unacceptable. Another thing, he's peaked at 8 touchdowns rushing on the ground. That's it. 8 rushing. Derrick Henry doubled that last year. So again, if I'm looking at a guy that I want to draft in the second round, this is typically where he's going to be going, right? I want to get a guy that, has a higher ceiling. And again, he's in an offense that is completely suspect with a new quarterback with Burrow, AJ Green. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Slight improvements on the O-line. I get it, which means it's a high ceiling, which means it could help him. But he hasn't wowed me for years. He's been good. I see the ceiling, and trust me, this guy could have a huge year, could finish top 5 easily. But I don't trust it. I haven't seen the ceiling, so I'm just going to go ahead and avoid him. I don't trust him, okay? We're saying, Joe, you don't trust this guy, I don't trust this guy. Who do you draft? 16-round draft solution, guys. Also, subscribe to this channel. I do a ton of videos on running backs I do like, okay? Number 2 here. I don't like this guy at all. You guys know who I'm talking about, but I got to bring him up. And there's a lot of running backs here that I haven't really talked about that I'm going to be avoiding as well. Guys like Devin Singletary, Ekeler, Gordon. We're going to get into that. But this guy, I've said it a million times. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but I'm going to go through some facts with you. The guy I'm talking about is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, stay away. This guy is already threatening holdout. That alone is a big turnoff to me. The reason Dalvin Cook is threatening holdout, I'll tell you guys why Dalvin Cook is threatening holdout. Because he knows he sucks. He knows he can't finish the season. He has not finished the season in 3 years. 29. Let me repeat this, guys. When you play 3 years, that's 48 games. Do the math. 16, 16, 16, around 48, right? There's a bye week in there, so the 17th week. You guys get it. Mathematically. 48 games, approximately, give or take. 48 games. In 3 years, you should be playing what? 48 games. Aside, maybe you get injured, you got a sick day, something like that. Let's just say you play, 40. Let's be really bad. Let's say you play 40 out of 48. That's bad. If you play 40 out of 40, you miss 8 games in 3 seasons, that's bad. No, he only played 29 games out of 48. How terrible is that? Including 4 games his first season, 11 games his second season, and 14 this one pinnacle season he had. He knows he blew his load last year. He knows that's the best he could do. So he's done. He's washed up. Listen, Alexander Madison's there for a reason. Alexander Madison averaged 4.6 yards per carry, 0.1 yard per carry more than Dalvin Cook. It's not much, but the point I'm trying to make is if you expand out Alexander Madison's performance over 250 attempts, which is what Dalvin Cook had, Madison only had 100. If you expand that out, he would have performed just as good, if not better than Dalvin Cook. I like Madison later. I'm staying away from Cook, especially drafting him in the first 5, 6, 7 picks. Hell no. He has no business being in and around the first round. He has no business being anywhere. You shouldn't draft him because he's going to get hurt. Why would you draft a guy that is proven to you? It's like being in a relationship, okay? Somebody cheats on you once, you shouldn't go back. But, you take them back, they cheat on you twice, you're like, I'm an idiot, right? Fool me once, shame on me. You know that whole saying. But 3 times, he has not finished a season, 3 times, and you're going to draft this guy in the first round? Get off my channel if you think Dalvin Cook is worth a first-round pick. I don't care if he finishes first amongst running backs in fantasy points. Just his history alone, and everybody's telling, I keep hearing it in the news. Everyone keeps talking about it. Joe, if you get Dalvin Cook, just get handcuffed Madison. If you got to worry, and everybody's saying when you draft a player, you got to get his handcuff, don't draft that player. It's that simple. That should be your red flag waving across the sky. It says, if I got to worry about drafting a handcuff, maybe I shouldn't draft this guy. Instead, maybe I'll draft a Jacobs or a Henry or a Barkley or a Zeke or something like that. I get that player, and then I get Madison later. Now I've got 2 RB1s. Does this make sense? Now you've got, when Cook goes down, now you've got Madison and Henry, right? You've got Madison and Jacobs. You've got 2 RB1s instead of when Cook goes down, and he will. Now you've got Madison, but you lose Cook. Stupidity, okay? Just get Madison later if when you get anybody in the first round. Just get him later, right? All right, now, number 3. This guy, huge ceiling, but I'm not drafting him. The guy I'm talking about is Kenyan Drake, staying away. I'll tell you guys why I'm staying away. Now, he is ranked 8th in PPR right now. Finished 17th last year, understandably so, because he came in to the Arizona Cardinals mid to late earlier season. Like, he didn't finish the whole season with them, okay? Now, he only had 3 good weeks. I think it was like week 9, 15, I believe week 16 or something like that. He had 3 really good weeks with them, okay? Now, check this out. In 3 years with Miami, I'm going to repeat this. I want you guys to write it down. I know you guys are going to say, well, he was with Miami, Joe. He was with Miami, Joe. You can't talk to me like that, Joe. He was with Miami. It doesn't count, Joe. Doesn't matter. If you're an elite running back, you're going to shine in year 1. If you don't shine in year 1, you're going to shine in year 2. If you don't shine in year 2, you're going to shine in year 3, okay? He hasn't shined. He has not shined, okay? He has not shined. So the fact of the matter is now he's with the Cardinals. He had 3 good games with the Cardinals. But in 3 years, he had 1,358 yards. I'm looking at it right now. 1,358 yards. 9 touchdowns in 3 years. Derrick Henry beat this in 1 year. Okay? Not 3. In 3 years, he couldn't perform the same way Derrick Henry did. Okay? And you're going to draft this guy in the second round. It took him 3 years to not even accomplish what one running back can do in 1 season. You're going to trust this guy. You're going to trust an offense that took their top running back, their workhorse, their loyal guy that could have just as capable, David Johnson, and bench him for this bottom feeder. You're gonna do that? You're gonna get this guy that's done nothing for 3 years and draft him in the second round? You're gonna do the same thing? You didn't get a slap on the wrist and a slap on the face when you lost your league last year, getting Damian Williams after I warned you, do not draft Damian Williams. He's a backup in Miami for 3 years, and you drafted Damian Williams in the second round because the mainstream told you. You're gonna do the same thing again with Kenyan Drake? Mind you, the ceiling is high. I totally understand this, right? And I could make an argument that Drake is better than Williams, and I totally agree with that, but it's Kenyan Drake, okay? On a suspect offense, it's going to be lining up 4 wide. They've got Hopkins now. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I don't trust it, okay, especially in the second round. Give me him in the 7th, 8th round. I may consider him as an RB4, not in the second round. Number 4 here, Nick Chubb. I'm going to avoid him. Another guy you do not draft, Nick Chubb. Listen, he had 1,400 plus yards last year, 8 touchdowns, pretty good. Now listen, he's a second round guy. He's coming off in the second round. But literally, when Kareem Hunt came back, he had 2 good weeks, week 12 and week 14. Nick Chubb was outscored in PPR 6 out of the 8 games he played with Kareem Hunt. That's all I got to say. He got outscored. Let me repeat this. There's a couple points I want to make, actually. Mind you, his attempts dropped. He did not exceed 17 after week 13. Nick Chubb did not exceed 17 attempts. Usually he was getting 20, 23 attempts, 21, 19. He did not exceed 17 attempts after week 13. That's when Kareem Hunt was, kind of found his groove. And then he only had 2 good weeks in fantasy. Really good weeks, like where he kind of took off, right? When Kareem Hunt came back and he got outscored. So that's all you need to know. Kareem Hunt is there. He's going to be there for the full season. Kareem Hunt was the rushing leader in 2017. Why would you waste your time? And people say, well, Joe, sometimes you don't talk stats. I'm diving into stats more than anybody. People aren't even telling you this stuff. I understand stats like this. 6 out of 8 weeks, he outscored. Kareem Hunt outscored Nick Chubb. 1,494 yards, 8 touchdowns. That's predicated on the 9 or 10 weeks that Kareem Hunt wasn't there. Nick Chubb was alone. Now you implement him. Dude, I know stats like the back of my hand. I could tell you everything a little bit. David Johnson stats, what were they? Oh, well, I remember 2016, 20 all-purpose touchdowns, right? He had 20 all-purpose touchdowns, 16 rushing on the ground, 4 receiving. I'm not looking at any stats. I'm telling you right to your face. Joe, you like David Johnson. You know stats of everybody. Did you know that Zeke Elliott had about 303 attempts last year? Give or take 1 or 2. I don't know the exact fact. But the fact I'm trying to make here is I know the volume. I know the attempts. I know what people do. I know what they're capable of. I know when another running back is there. I understand the synergy. I understand the flow of the rosters and the depth and how things happen and how they move and everything. So when I look at Nick Chubb, I don't trust it. I don't feel good about it, right? Especially investing. A lot of people are going to draft this guy as their RB1. So you got to be careful with this, okay? Next guy, let's move on. Chris Carson, let's rip through the rest of the guys here. Chris Carson, listen, 4 games his first season, 14 and then 15 the third season. Hasn't finished the season yet again. Listen, the Seattle Seahawks don't trust him. They brought in Carlos Hyde. Now, Carlos Hyde sucks. Garbage, okay? When you look at him, yeah, he rushed over 1,000 yards, but what did he put up in fantasy points? 150? Again, off the top, I'm not looking at stats. People say, Joe, you don't know stats. What did Carlos Hyde put up? I'll tell you what Carlos put up. 153.2. I was off by 3 points. But again, guys, I know stats like I'm a human wrecking machine when it comes to stats. Now, Carlos Hyde, even with the 245 attempts, 1,000 yards, right? 6 rushing touchdowns, only 153 yards. He just sucks. But here's the thing when you're looking at Chris Carson. That's why I'm telling you, do not draft Chris Carson. Running back to avoid Chris Carson because the Seahawks don't believe in him. If they did, they would not acquire Carlos Hyde. They brought in Carlos Hyde. He's going to be a thorn in the side. Now, Carlos Hyde sucks, but he's good enough to be a thorn in the side of Chris Carson. You will be annoyed if you draft Chris Carson this year. I assure you, you will be annoyed. Avoid him. Next guy, Aaron Jones. Guys, listen, coming off the year of his life, he's not going to rush for 16 touchdowns this year. They got A.J. Dillon. They got A.J. Dillon for a reason because A.J. Dillon could, if he's good enough, replace Aaron Jones they don't want to pay Aaron Jones maybe a big contract. If A.J. Dillon could do a good job, they'll milk him for his rookie contract and get rid of Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon will be a thorn. I can't imagine they acquired him in an early draft. I think he was their second pick or first or second pick for the Packers. Listen, they're going to use Dillon. They're going to use him around the goal line. They're going to test him. They're going to feel him out. They're going to see how he does. And if Dillon breaks out for some big runs, look for him to get more volume. Aaron Jones had the game and the year of his life. The year of his life, I should say. Adams was hurt last year. They're going to throw more. Aaron Jones now, they brought in Love. he's going to be breathing down Aaron Rodgers' his neck. So as a quarterback, everyone's saying you're washed up. I can imagine Aaron Rodgers having a good season, right? They brought Love in, breathing down his neck. I think he just signed his contract. So you got to understand, guys, there's a lot of pressure for Aaron Jones to succeed. Yes, because Dylan's behind him, but Dylan's still going to eat. Trust me. I think the Packers are planning for their future, and it won't include Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers. Be careful, okay? The Aarons are out. Be cautious. I'm not going to invest a second round pick. He's number 12 right now, guys, amongst running backs in PPR. Too rich for my blood. 4 more guys here. Number 7, Melvin Gordon. Listen, with Melvin Gordon, new offense, new team, new situation, and you've got this pest that's just hungry and wants to get. He thinks he's in his delusional state of mind. Philip Lindsay actually thinks he's better than Melvin Gordon, and he will act like that, and he will demand the ball, and he will be a thorn in Melvin Gordon's side. Now, if you look at this distribution there, guys, Lindsay ate a lot last year, had over about 1,000 yards. I don't have the exact number. Royce Freeman had around 496 yards. But listen, when you look at these guys, it's a committee. It's a major committee, and I'm going to stay far, far away from this. Philip Lindsay had 1,011 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns on 224 attempts, okay? Royce Freeman had 132 attempts. There's over 300 attempts gone between 2 running backs that happen to still be there. You bring in Melvin Gordon. If you want him to succeed, he's got to put up around 300 attempts, right? You want him to be a top guy. Now, mind you, he's ranked 18th amongst the consensus running backs. The Sheep says he's coming off in and around round 3 to round 4. Maybe he slips to 5, but that's very rare. Not going to invest in Melvin Gordon this year, being that committee in that situation. Next guy here is Devin Singletary. Avoid him. Listen, they brought in Zach Moss, a.k.a. the Moss Boss. Listen, this guy's going to eat. They brought him in for a reason. They do not believe in Devin Singletary. I've been to training camp with the Bills. Devin Singletary is a small dude, kind of scatty, right? He's a scat back. So, they looked at that. They said, we need a power guy. They brought in Moss. Not good for Singletary. Now, if you're looking at a round 5 value, give me Montgomery, who is actually the workhorse, the guy that can also catch the ball and is guaranteed those attempts. He had 240 plus attempts last year. Joe, you don't know stats. You don't talk. I'm not looking. David Montgomery, 242 attempts. Am I right? Let me just look at it here. David Montgomery, who finished 24th, by the way, in PPR. Where are you, David Montgomery? 242 attempts, 889 yards, 3.7 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns, and a partridge in a pear tree. Listen, guys, stats. It's all here. I know it. This is why I talk 16 rounds. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to help you guys get the draft solution because you're going to get players that are optimal. 5th round, Singletary, Montgomery, no brainer. Give me Montgomery. More on volume, more on talent. He's just a better running back in a situation where he's going to get more volume. Singletary. Zach Moss is going to be a thorn in the side, who happens to be a fantasy football running back sleeper. You get late. Do not trust him. 2 more guys. Number 9, Austin Ekeler. Stay away. Don't buy fool's gold. He had a great season last year. Finished 4th in PPR last year. 132 attempts. Again, not looking at the stats. Joe, why do you keep bragging? Why do you keep saying you know stats? Because sometimes I get haters, right? And I love haters. They fuel my fire. I like it. So when they give me the Joe, you don't talk stats. Dude, I know stats, but sometimes I don't talk about it because I see other podcasts elaborate for 5 minutes about one player and his stats, and it's so freaking boring, right? So I avoid that. And I tell you guys, I've done the research, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Now, mind you, Ekeler could have a great season in PPR, but 132 attempts, 557 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns. Don't expect him to be a workhorse running back, but the fact of the matter is he is being drafted like a workhorse running back, 9th in PPR right now as a running back, drafted 2nd round value. This is another fool's gold guy. I'm staying away and I'm avoiding. Austin Ekeler, I do not trust. He's not a workhorse, always been a backup, will continue to be a backup, and guess what? They don't believe in him because they acquired and drafted Joshua Kelly, the Chargers. New offense, suspect situation, different quarterback. It's different, guys. You don't have Rivers throwing the ball to him that many times. He's not going to catch. I don't think he's going to catch 92 receptions on 108 targets. Could be wrong, but new situation, guys. Be cautious. And number 10 here. Actually, you know what? Number 10 is kind of a funny one. And I really want you to be cautious with this one. And I don't want to say avoid it, but be cautious, okay? The guy I'm talking about, number 10, is Raheem Mostert. Now, mind you, this guy could have a high ceiling, but everyone's all over Raheem Mostert. My concern with this guy, now he had a good season last year, 132 attempts, 772 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. This guy is a bruiser. This guy is nitty. This guy is gritty. but I think Coleman is coming back. So you got to be careful. I'm just scared. Another thing with the 49ers is they spread the ball around, but a healthy Coleman could be a thorn in his side, okay? So you got to be careful with Raheem Mostert. Now, some people are saying, okay, but I get him for good value, this and that. Yes, but just be careful. Now, this guy I don't hate as much as the other guys because he's not being drafted in the second or third round, so you get him for more value. But all I'm saying with this guy, again, I'm just on the fence a little bit about this. Just be cautious with it. I'm personally avoiding Raheem Mostert because I know that offense, they spread the ball around. Be cautious, Raheem Mostert. I'm personally avoiding him. And Coleman, if healthy, will be a thorn in the side of Raheem Mostert. Again, a lot of people are drafting this guy thinking he's going to be a full workhorse running back. If Coleman is there, he's going to be a thorn. Be cautious. So again, guys, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Kenyan Drake, Nick Chubb, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, Devin Singletary, Austin Ekeler, and Raheem Mostert. I'm avoiding all these guys. There's a ton more guys I'm avoiding. Trust me, guys, there's a lot more, but I want to do a quick 10 list here for you guys, get it out there and make you guys aware so you do not fall in the pitfall of making a mistake of drafting these guys. All right, guys, that's it. Smash a thumbs up, get the 16-round draft solution, guys. I appreciate you. Leave your questions below and subscribe to this #1 fantasy football podcast. Takeover imminent, and we'll talk soon, guys. Thank you. I'm out.